Let's make a mask today. What we're going to do is we're going to start out with an idea. That's always the best way. And here I have two ideas I made. One, I thought, well, maybe I'll make a tiger. The other one, I thought, oh, maybe I'll make a cartoon person. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a cartoon person. Next one, animal. Here we go. Well, we start out with some ideas. And what I did is I went online and I looked up some different features of people. Cartoon eyes, less cartoony eyes, some different noses. You know, the mouth and the eyes show different kind of expressions. And here's some cartoon hair. I also found online a whole bunch of career type hats, so that might interest you as well. Here I go. And the next thing I need is a plastic mold. This plastic mold is about the size of my hand. I need a piece of plastic to place on top. Why? Because I want to make sure that I'll be able to remove my clay mask after I make it. This plastic will secure onto the clay, and I'll be able to easily lift it off of the mask. And the next thing I need is a paper plate. Why? Well, I need that paper plate so I can turn my mask around as I'm looking and decorating. And the last thing I need are rulers, rolling pin, clay tools, and a slab of clay. Slabs of clay start out as a big block of clay. I cut with a wire this piece of clay, and I made it about 1/4 of an inch, a little bit less than 1/2. And I'm going to lay it on my table about 4 fingers from the bottom of my table. That way when I go to roll it, it'll stretch and have plenty of room so it won't hang out off the table. Now I'm also going to be using these rulers. You'll find out why. I'm going to first take my ruler, and instead of my rolling pin, instead of holding it on the sides, I hold it here. The reason why I hold it on the rolling pin is because if you're righty, you tend to push down more on the right. If you're lefty, you tend to push down more on the left. So I want it nice and even. I'm going to take myself and I'm going to put my shoulders right over top of my rolling pin so I make sure I'm using the same amount of pressure and it's a nice strong roll. So here I go. I'm going to start right on the edge and I'm going to start rolling. And wow, you can see it starting to stretch vertically, right? Next, I'm going to turn it this way. Now, sometimes you have to hold on to that tablecloth so it doesn't move. You can even apply some tape onto it, connecting it to the table. You can see when I roll it left to right, it starts to stretch too. Lastly, I'm going to make an X. So here I go, making that X. And you'll notice that it started to stretch even further. That's where the rulers come in. I don't want to stretch it so much that it's very thin. So this ruler is going to act like a train track and make sure that that clay does not get any thicker than the thinness, or thinner than the thickness of the ruler. Try to say that one. So here I go. I'm taking my rolling pin, I'm rolling it on the tracks of the rulers. And you'll see how it's starting to stretch the clay even further. Alrighty, I'm ready to go. So now I'm going to gently pull back this slab of clay with both hands. Remove my rulers. I will be using those maybe later. I want to take my mold. Make sure the plastic is covering. Very, very important. If there's any holes, you have to be careful where they land. So I'm going to now lay this down. I think this area here is a little wider, so I'm going to lay it this direction because I want to have it as even as possible on the sides. Okay, so I'm looking on both sides, making sure, and then gently I am molding, they call that, and shaping the clay. I'm not pushing hard on the clay, and you can see that I'm kind of pinching it a little bit too. Now, if this was going to be an animal, I might be able to use those as ears, but since I said it's going to be a person, that's what it's going to be. Now, I can see I've got about that much, about 1/2 inch on the one side, a little bit more on the other, so I'm going to slide my clay over a little so that it's pretty even. I'm going to use that to decide how small my clay mask is going to be. So here I go. When I press down lightly with my fingers, this kind of defines where my eyes are going to be. I also notice I've got a lot of wrinkles in my clay from stretching. So what do? I take a little bit of water. Now you can add